Do you really need a PhD to apply machine learning algorithms?
Well, of course, you like Ernie, I'm an ex-academic and I've got a PhD in physics. But there's a reason why I left academia as well, and I got a little bit, I did get a little bit disillusioned with academia, although I had a pretty good time there. But times have really changed, and I actually think that first you need to ask yourself, what is a PhD? And I always said, well, a PhD is 3 or more of avoiding to go to work, but when you do a PhD, you have a very specific task that you meant to work on, and you've got, and this is probably one of the advantages, you've got hopefully a supervisor that to some extent guides you through the process and helps you when you have difficulties. Now, let's just say you work on some really new type of trading strategy, that you just found some weakness in the market, and you develop it and you go into depth and so on, and then you build the software around it and so on. It might take you like a year or two, or who knows, and with all the research and until everything is running. And in some ways, you've also did just as much work as someone who's done a PhD, just the same amount of research. You might not publish your work because you want to keep it for yourself, and you'll probably not get an academic title for it. But at the same time, if it works well, you get something that is potentially more valuable, which is you're making money. So and so PhD, you don't really learn academic skills anymore. You do your own work most of the time. Now, what I did during my PhD was literally just read. At the time, we didn't really have YouTube and all that, so I just read a lot of papers and so on. But nowadays, you just go on YouTube, you get the best professors in the world on YouTube. Now, sometimes that's way better than going into uni and listening to some really boring second grade professor. You might as well just get it from the best. And yeah, the only thing that is probably lacking is the feedback from someone who knows what they're doing. And so if you manage somehow to find a good mentor that helps you to get started on the journey, and that actually takes you by the hand and guides you specifically at the beginning through the process, so you can actually not make like really stupid beginner's mistake as I did when I started in finance. um, you can you can get as much or even more out of a PhD. I think anyone can do it. I really don't think a PhD is that important. Having said that, like there's generally people with a relatively reasonable level of intelligence tend to go to PhDs. So it looks like there is a correlation between having a PhD and doing this, but that's just, correlation isn't causation, obviously. So I don't think there is necessarily a causal link. So I guess that's, yeah, I think that's what I have to say to that.